guys, welcome back to my channel. I've been seeing a video circulating on YouTube about what different homeschoolers don't do in their homeschool, so I thought that would be fun to do today. So here are 18 things I do not do in my homeschool. Now, if you do these 18 things, that's totally fine. Don't feel bad, because that's the great thing about homeschooling, is we get to decide what we are doing. I'm sorry the light's kind of weird. I'm in my office, I don't have a curtain yet. The clouds keep going in front of the sun, so sorry about the shadows. Okay, number 1, I do not make breakfast every morning. I know, gasp. So here's what I do instead. I make available things for my kids to get to feed themselves. I don't want to spend a half hour cooking in the kitchen and then cleaning up and wasting that time when we could be doing school. So I might do oatmeal or rice in the Instapot, and then it's ready to go in the morning, or they can have yogurt or toast or fruit. I have one son that likes to have meat leftovers for breakfast, and that's totally fine, but I don't cook a big elaborate meal every day. In fact, almost never. Number 2, testing. For the most part, I do not do testing in my homeschool. And the reason why is because I do narration instead. So the great thing about that is it helps them remember stuff, and then I can see if they're listening and taking stuff in. Now sometimes I do a test at the end of a Matthew C book. I go back to the testing manual and do the final test just to make sure that they understand all the topics we've covered and haven't forgotten anything before I move on to the next book. But that's pretty much the only time I do tests. Number 3, I don't just stay with one curriculum company. I do a lot of different ones. I pick and choose from different methods and different companies depending on what we were teaching that year and what will serve my purposes as a homeschooling mom. Piggybacking on that is number 4, I don't use just one method. Oh, this shadow is really, really bad. I'm sorry. Hopefully I will be able to get a light, like this ring halo light soon, and curtains in the window, but right now it's not happening. Okay, so I don't stick with one method. Now, it bothers me a lot when I go on different, Facebook homeschooling groups and people ask a question and then the admin shuts it down. They say things along the lines of, oh, well, Charlotte Mason didn't say that, so we're going to shut down comments now. Isn't the point of a homeschool forum type thing to help other homeschoolers? That's why I created this channel, to help new homeschoolers, and my website to help new homeschoolers. So yeah, whatever. I don't do just one method. I pull mostly from classical, but we also have some Charlotte Mason elements in there. We do a little bit of game schooling. I would like to add more Montessori. Right now our house is so small, I don't have a place to put the different elements of that. I guess you describe me as classically eclectic is what my method is. And that's fine. You can find your own method or make up your own or pull from different ones, and it's fine. Whatever works for you and your homeschool. Number 5, I do not use religious curriculum. I'm very religious. I go to church every Sunday. We study the scriptures in the morning and at night. We're studying the New Testament this year, but I just find it really distracting inside the curriculum. I don't want to be doing math and have a Bible verse, or learning about science and have a Bible verse to look up. I just, if I'm doing science, I want to do science. If I'm doing history, I want to do history. I don't want to go back and forth between subjects. I want to do that thing, so I don't like religious curriculum. Number 6, nature study. Now, we have done butterflies in a butterfly cage inside. We've done a snail in a little terrarium type thing inside, and that was really fun. We learned a ton about snails, but I don't take my kids out to go look at nature to study it. We study science. My kids are outside every day. They find something cool, they bring it to me. I just don't have that as a subject in our school. I just don't have time for it. They watch Wildcats sometimes, we do documentaries. They are learning about nature, it's just not by just walking around outside. Number 7, following along on that, nature journaling. I don't do that either. I just feel like it's a lot more effective to learn to draw by taking drawing lessons and learning from an actual artist instead of just trying to draw it yourself. Yes, you probably will improve in your skill level, but I'd rather my kids have a quicker path to drawing mastery than just trying to teach themselves. And I know it's all about, learning to observe and things like that, but I feel like it makes more sense to learn how to draw before you try to draw from real life. If you do nature journaling, that's awesome. More power to you. It's just not for us. All right, number 8, co-op. We did join a co-op our first year, and people were really nice. It was very fluffy. I felt like my kids did not, my only had a kindergartner at that point. I felt like he just wasn't really learning a lot from it, and I didn't like having to be there all day and having to have an hour for lunch so they could socialize, because they had socializing afterwards. After the classes, they had a free game station time. I didn't like teaching a class every time. It just wasn't for us. Now, I did try and look into a co-op this last year, and the reason I looked into it because it was supposed to just be 2 hours a day, and I thought, okay, I can handle 2 hours a day. I'm an introvert, it's gonna wipe me out, but it's much better than 5 hours a day. So we went there, and at the opening meeting they said, oh, this year we're gonna be doing 5 hours a day instead of 2, so that was not for us. I just feel like it just takes up so much time, and it's not exactly what I would want them to learn. Some things are, and then I feel like we get behind on our other subjects because we have a co-op that takes all day long, and then we're all totally exhausted by the time we get home. It's just not. I don't know if that'll change in the future. Possibly, but I doubt it. Unless they had some things I couldn't teach at home or didn't have access to. I would probably change my mind then, but we would have to see. All right, number 9, I don't do grades. Now, the reason why is my kids are still in elementary school. There's not really any point doing grades right now because it's not going to count for anything. I'm well aware of what they're doing and how they're doing in their classes because I'm there with them every day teaching them and helping them along with that. When they get to junior high and high school, of course we would do grades then, but right now there's no point. Number 10, we do not wear pajamas all day. I've actually never had a problem with my kids staying in pajamas all day. They always get dressed. A lot of times they go to sleep in the clothes they want to wear the next day. I don't know why, they just do that. But I know I feel better and more awake and more ready for the day, ready to homeschool when I get dressed in the morning. So I always do. Number 11, poetry tea time. I did this our first year and it was great. I actually called it popcorn and poetry time because the kids don't like herbal tea, and popcorn water time didn't really seem like wasn't very a catchy name. So I just did popcorn and poetry, and they'd eat their popcorn quietly while I read poetry to them, and it was okay. But I find it more effective with my wild children to just read a poem as we're doing our reading every day instead of making this big elaborate table. And even though it wasn't really that elaborate because it's just popcorn, but I definitely don't do the whole setting it, decorating the table and having special cups and a teapot and making all these treats. I don't have time for that, and I'm not crafty. I'm not that kind of girl. So that's why I don't do that anymore. I do still expose my kids to poetry as much as I can. Number 12, nature walks. I don't do nature walks. I know a lot of people love them and it's relaxing to them, but we live on over an acre. True, it's by a busy road. It's not ideal, but my kids go exploring outside all the time. They build forts. My husband takes them camping pretty much every 3-day weekend or just for Friday night. Not every Friday night, but they probably go camping once or twice a month. And they're often at our good friend's house. They have 13 acres in the woods, so they're in nature all the time. So it doesn't make sense to me to take a time out of our week to spend on a nature walk when they're already outside in nature. If that makes sense. Number 13, we don't do school in 2 hours. That's awesome that some homeschoolers do that, but if yours takes longer, don't feel bad. That's perfectly normal. I like to go in depth and cover a lot of things, but some people are a lot more laid back. They might be unschoolers or Charlotte Mason or whatever, and that's okay. If you just want to do 1 or 2 hours of school a day and let the rest be free learning and that works for you and your family, that's fine. For me and my children, we need longer to do school. Number 14, we do not take a full summer break unless I have a baby during the summer. I find 4 to 6 weeks is a great amount of time for us. Anything over that, they start to have a summer slide. I know I always say, oh, we'll just do a little bit each day, but I mean, let's be realistic. It just doesn't happen very much. So we usually go almost to the end of June. That's when school gets out, like the 3rd week of June, I think. And then we start up in August again. Now, my husband usually will take them camping multiple times during then, or we might go on a trip or something, but we are easing back into school in August. Number 15, morning baskets. A lot of homeschoolers really like morning baskets. We don't do a morning basket. My kids start the day with their independent boxes and do as much independent work as they can, and then I help them with whatever they need help with. And then we go to group stuff. I do have a basket. Well, it's like a cloth bin, but whatever. The container is not important. I do have one of those, and it has things I read to them out of there, and that's where our poetry is, but I don't do all the riches at one time from the basket. We do our folk song in the mornings. That's more in the afternoon, so we don't do a morning basket. And that's okay. You don't have to, because you are in charge of your own homeschool. Number 16, first and last day traditions. I just am not a tradition kind of person. We just do school most of the year, so I don't really feel like the need to do a first day back to school photo or a last day photo. I'm just not crafty like that, and that's okay. Number 17, weekly library visits. Now we do go to the library. We just don't have, every Wednesday or anything like that. One of the nice things from COVID, one of the few nice things from COVID, is that our library has curbside pickup, which is awesome because you just reserve your books online and then you go, you call them, they bring your books out in and out in 5 to 10 minutes, and you save so much time, and it's awesome. They usually keep them for, I think, 9 days or something when they come in. So I just wait till I got a bunch, then I go down and get them. Perfect. Number 18, attendance. We do not take attendance. We are in Washington State, and homeschoolers, I believe, have to go 180 days, but because homeschooling can be expensive, we signed up for a distance learning program. So we check in with the teacher once a week, and then once a month they do a report, but I do all the teaching myself. They have online classes you can take for free, but they pay for your curriculum, and that's how we afford homeschool. So because of that, I don't have to do any attendance reporting. I just have to do the weekly report once a week, the check-in, and that counts as a week's worth of attendance. So I don't have to, take it on the sheet or anything. Okay, I hope you had fun with this video and got some ideas of things you don't necessarily have to do. If you see people on different forums and things saying the things they do in homeschool and you don't do most of those, it's okay. Don't feel bad. You are in charge of your homeschool. Whatever reason you're homeschooling, whether you feel called by God or you just felt like the public school was not working for you and your family, you're in charge, and that's fine. And you can do whatever you want in your homeschool as long as it works for your family. All right, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Please comment down below what you don't do in your homeschool or what you do that other homeschoolers don't. This could be an interesting conversation. All right, see you next time.